Thank you for joining us today. How to launch a disciple making year without hours of meetings. And this is, of course, sponsored by Church Growth in a Box, known as churchgrowthinabox.com. If you stick with us at the end of this webinar, we're going to share a report. We did a survey this last year. The top 3 church growth investments in 2019. Found some very interesting results from that, surprising. And that has kind of driven us in the quality of our product and how we design it to work for pastors. But you can get this report, compare it to where you're at and where your opportunities are for growing your church in 2019. And that will be available at the end of the webinar. Let's get the most out of this webinar possible. So if you can turn off your cell phones, close other tabs, remove distractions, and make sure you have pen and paper ready. So let's go. So who is you? Not everybody knows me, so I just want to take a little bit to talk a little bit about my background, where the Lord has taken me from and through, and what I have to offer you. I'm a board member of the Apostolic Bible Institute. I've been with them for 36 years. I've seen over 1,000 students trained for the ministry, and literally the sun does not set on that work. They're located all around the world in every inhabitable continent. I've consulted with various denominations at state and national levels. I've consulted with churches on the east, west coast, down on the southern border, and into Canada. And I have consulted with over 20 Fortune 500 companies and Inc. 500 companies. In my bivocational secular career, I have saved United Healthcare Group over $12 million a year. I've lowered the cost for Northwest Airlines, which now has merged into Delta, by $40 million a year twice. One of those projects became a college textbook example on project management. And I have saved over $52 million a year from losses at U.S. Bank, recovered those losses for them. So I'm a systems person, and the Lord has allowed me to use my system skills in the ministry. I've conducted a door-to-door campaign where we had 1 out of every 16 doors signing up for a Bible study once every 7 minutes. If you hang around me very long, you're going to get used to numbers. The Lord has blessed us. I've helped assist a church grow on a 300% trajectory. The church was running about 75, and they were on the trajectory to grow by 225. I have formulated a process for reaching families in your community for about $5 a piece. Very conscientious of cost and impact. I have helped raise over $60,000 in 30 minutes. And the first time I did this particular fundraiser, I was able to help a camp pay off their mortgage and put air conditioning into their cafeteria. So I'm a numbers and systems guy. So I'm going to try to simplify what I do, not try to scare you, but help you to make an impact. So how is this accomplished? It's by making single-digit improvements that produce millions of dollars. Okay? So when I was at Northwest Airlines, that was the rule. You can't say if half the customers did something and it would raise the company $500,000, they would throw that away. You had to do a single-digit improvement, and it had to impact the company by $1 million or more. So once you've done that for a number of years, you kind of look at processes and break them down. Okay, so when you make these incremental single-digit improvements that have this much impact, they help organizations in downturns and accelerate benefits during the bull market. So when only 1 new visitor is coming a month, right, the process works. But if for some reason a revival breaks out and you get 100 visitors a month, the process still works. It just accelerates. And so that's the rule for the single digit versus $1 million. Okay. So we want to look at how we can better use what we already have. And you don't have a budget that can get approved in order to do a better job. So what can you do with what you already have? And how can you make improvements without changing your schedule and existing responsibilities? Okay, so let's not upset the cart, but just think clearly on processes and how we can do this single digit and be consistent. Okay, just want to make sure everybody's in the right webinar. And just take a little check here. Thanks for joining us, Harsa, I think I said your name, Jason and Richard. Appreciate you joining us here on the webinar. Okay, I see we got somebody from Franklin, Tennessee, Spotsville, Virginia joining us. Thank you for that. Okay, so this webinar is for you if you're a pastor and you would like for your church to have healthy growth year over year. You would like to have visitors that are ready for the gospel. There's two types of visitors you can have at your church. Cold turkey, off the street, just walked in, and that's good, and you want those guys. But then it's really good if the person visiting has a strong relationship with somebody already in the church and already has expectations because of that relationship when they come to church, okay? And so they're ready to make the next step. They're not cold turkey. And imagine discovering productive avenues for reaching the lost in your city without taking time from your already busy schedule. Okay, now you can do this when you build a disciple-making leadership team and accomplish it without holding months of unsuccessful meetings. Okay, so we're going to talk about the core information here. There are 3 secrets. You may call them 3 concepts. They're not so much secret. I want to share them with you. But these are 3 items that we want to think about when we think about disciple making. Okay, you have regular, simple members in your church who are qualified as disciple makers. I talk to ministers who say, no one in my church is good enough. Step up to help to do this. I don't have any good people in my church. Well, they're not meeting your expectation maybe, but I think they are good enough. So imagine, what would it be like in a church if everybody was actively helping to reach one? Okay, I believe that is possible. Given the right guidelines, tools, and support, your members will surprise you with the passion and productivity as disciple makers. So let me break this one down for you. You've got somebody who maybe is mentally slow, right? Or you've got somebody who's just as redneck and backwards as they come. Okay? That person individually by themselves initially probably won't make a very good disciple maker. They just lack the communication skills, the personality, and those type of things. So you do what a teacher does in a classroom. They'll take a student who's struggling academically and doesn't have the facilities to really work well academically, and they pair them up with projects with a stronger student. Okay? And so you want to pair up those type of people with a stronger person and ask them to cooperate together as disciple makers. So now the stronger person is organizing a dinner to have somebody over that they're working with, and they take the challenged person and say, why don't you come over and help me cook dinner and have dinner with me and my friend. And they engage them and they use them. You may have elderly people who can't get out. They are great prayer warriors. So partner them with somebody and then have them pray with that person. Everybody should be involved in the disciple making. And when you pair people up, you can resolve this issue, number one. Number two, it can be inverted. So now the stronger person helps the weaker person, maybe goes to their house and helps them have dinner, and maybe works with them on the person that they're in contact with and coaches them and holds their hand and helps them win their friend to the Lord. So this cross-coaching, cross-sharing of your members, it's everybody involved. Then as those people they're reaching to start coming to church and giving their life to Christ, the excitement really builds. And everybody's like, I want to do this again. I want to do this some more. Okay? So everybody, even the simplest members of your church, can qualify as disciple makers, but you have to pair them up in a coaching situation. Okay, secret number two, you can trust your people to be disciple makers. Now, if you're this one, that you've preached and you teach disciple making, yet your saints don't catch on, you feel like they're rejecting the concept or they're not ready, and you're trying to figure out some secret project to get them to go and to be disciple makers, try to do something some other church did, and it just, they don't have the vision. type of situation. But imagine a church where disciple making is contagious. It's a habit where converts hit the ground running with disciple making relationships of their own. Okay? And you can do this by building year-long relationships through coaching that will take your members from pew-warming, knowledge-based disciple makers to outcome-based disciple makers and reproducing more outcome-based disciple makers. So let's break this down. Another angle of coaching is you ask people to write down names of folks in their lives that they would like to reach. Excuse me. And then you have those names and you rotate on a phone call, maybe 3 days a week. You call 2 or 3 of your saints and you say, how is it coming with so-and-so? And then they'll tell you the issue or problem or progress that they've made. If they made progress, you congratulate them and encourage them on the next step. If they're struggling in progress, you can analyze the situation, say, well, try it this way or try it that way, and just coach them just a few minutes a day, 2 or 3 days a week. So if a football coach just preached and taught football and never showed up at the games and never consulted with the players and told them where they need to improve and give them a plan of attack and be there play by play to help them, he wouldn't be a football coach, right? And so we've been preaching and teaching disciple making. So what would it take for us to step up to start coaching? Now, there is a limited time, right? We don't have hours of time to go to meetings and organize all this. That's where this rotating call, you call 2 or 3 people a day, 2 or 3 days a week, just take a little bit at a time, and then rotate back through your list once you finish calling everybody, and rotate back through your list, whatever your schedule allows, and just coaching people along the way. Now, so you're bivocational and you're like super busy and like, Hugh, where am I going to get time to call these people? Well, you can do what's called a stand-up meeting. And what that is, maybe at Wednesday night Bible study, is have your saints come 15 minutes early or stay 15 minutes afterwards and just go around the room, round robin. How's it coming with your people that you're working with disciple making? Do you have an issue? As you go around, 2 or 3 people will say they're having issues, and then you follow up with them real quick and say, okay, how about this? How about that? Do it at your Bible study, or your small groups can do it. You can break this down into small group leaders. It don't have to be the pastor that's doing the coaching. But then this is helping people to move from knowledge-based to outcome-based disciple making. Okay. Number 3, the key to powerful results are in the consistency of daily task of disciple makers. We always look for revival to be an event. Lord, send revival. We're going to have a revival once a year or twice a year. It's an event. But what would an upward line on your membership chart look like with new souls giving their life to Christ on a weekly basis? You don't need meetings to prompt up or simulate a revival when it's a lifestyle that is supported year around. And so this idea of coaching is something that has to be consistent, not overbearing, simple, 2 or 3 days a week, 2 or 3 calls, pairing people up who need extra coaching to work on the same people that they're trying to reach, or support each other in their reaching. So everybody's involved. It's very, very exciting when you apply these 3 secrets to take disciple making out just from preaching and teaching and knowledge base and move it to coaching and outcome based disciple making. So real quick, I just want to check on the questions. Okay. So in the chat box, if you can let us know if you have any questions. Pastor Jason Brower, Springfield, Illinois, thanks for joining us. 75. Okay. Charles Cunningham, Ronnie Bishop, thanks for joining us. And just want to make sure there's no questions before we move on. So there on the right-hand side of the screen in the chat, you can enter your questions about disciple making and coaching disciple makers. All right, there's a little delay here over the internet, so I'm just going to give it an extra few seconds here for questions that might be coming in. And I'm hoping that you're starting to catch this vision of coaching and how it can impact the potential of your church in 2019. Okay, Jason, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. He's asking about when the meeting was supposed to start. How do you get members to buy in? Okay, first of all, you have to believe in them, right? Rather than them believing in your plan, you got to believe in them. We will show you one of the Church Growth in the Box kits called our 7x7, and this makes it really doable. It starts with prayer, which everybody can do, and we'll share a testimony how a pew warmer who attended church faithfully, but never lifted a hand for anything, never volunteered for anything, caused a spark and a revival and help a church start growing at 300% trajectory. So we'll cover that here in a little bit, Charles. What tool can I give to introverts to become a disciple maker? I have a lot of them. Okay. Right. You want to set up what's called a permission point, and we'll cover that in a minute. So you want to help people get to a point that their friends start asking them questions that are spiritual or about church. And if you can help their friends start asking questions, it'll pull out the introverts. Are these few secrets, areas that you can improve in? But are you limited in time and resources to maximize these secrets? Now, during the Bible days, folks worked together, they shopped together, they had more community, they were interactive. But today, we all have various places and demands of employment, and we buy everything, and shopping takes time, and that takes us out of this community that the people had back during the Bible days. So how can we practice the biblical principles in a world that steals the clock off the walls? So may I ask you a question? Would you like to learn about a disciple-making tool that helps you get more out of your time and your members' time? All right, so we're going to shift from our 3 secrets now, and we're going to start talking about the tool and answer these questions about how to get people to buy in and how to work with the introvert. So what is church growth in a box? Think of it as church growth tools in a box. This is our homepage. And we help coaching disciple makers through hands-on experiences. We don't need another how-to seminar. It is time for action. We need healthy dialogues between our members in the community, and we need to equip them with the tool that helps them find the hungry and builds social confidence. A really big reason for coaching disciple makers is we have lost our social confidence, our social skills. All this technology we have is taking away our social skills, and that's why coaching is so important. And so you are coaching people on some spiritual things, but you're also going to be coaching people just on some basic social skills and habits. And that's what's hindering them from being disciple makers. And church growth will help with that, church growth in a box. Okay, so how does it help? Once a quarter, we put out a kit, and in this kit, it includes an instructional video of a outreach technique or evangelism technique. In the videos, they are front-loaded with the techniques. You're very busy. You don't have time to watch a bunch of videos. So we give you the goods right up front when you watch the video that comes out for that quarter. And then we talk about tactical. And tactical is for different types of churches. If you're a church plant, a small church, you're bivocational, or you may be a department in a church and you want to use this technique in your department. Then we talk about the team. What kind of skills and team do you need if you are a church plant, small church, bivocational, full-size church? Okay, what's your options for the team? And sometimes there are secular options, like if you need graphics design, a person doesn't have to be a member of your church, right, to do graphic design. So we'll give you some concepts on how to build the team to execute that particular plan. And then Church Growth in a Box will give you tools, about 12 to 15 tools that you can download: planning tools, administrative tools, promotional tools, tracking tools. So whatever plan that you decide to use in your church, it is ready to go. And because it's ready to go, the strategies are covered, you know exactly what to do, and you have the tools to do it. We'll save you about 3 months that a typical church would take in planning to do an outreach project. How do these projects help you? A kit is organic. So when we develop a plan, and let me explain some plans here real quick. We have a personal evangelism promotional plan. We have a direct mail plan. We have a video streaming plan. We're developing a business card plan. We got a community learning plan. All these different plans, different ways that you can engage your community and find the hungry. They're organic. And by organic, that means that's no cash costs or very little cash costs. Okay, either $500 or $1,000. There's no way. These are all organic. Okay, we're just trying to give you some system smarts of where the opportunities are at. Every plan is designed to discover the hungry. It's not about mass marketing. It's not about building a mega church. It's not about fancy cool videos. It's about where are the hungry and how can we find them? Okay, let's discover the hungry. Then the kit will also include building trust with the hurting. So if you're advertising a hamburger or a music video or the latest fashion, that's all fun stuff. That's easy to advertise. What's hard to advertise is you've got a problem and I've got an answer. Okay, and so you have to build trust with people. You have to build trust with the hurting. You have to be sensitive to that as you're communicating and you're using different outreach projects, so you don't shove things in their face. And all of our kits cover key points on that particular technique and how to be sensitive to the hurting and to build that trust. In every kit, we want to get to this permission point. The permission point is we're looking to get the hungry to start asking questions to your members. Once they start asking questions, you have permission to speak into their life. If you try to speak into their life without permission, you're going to get rejection. You're not going to see results and stuff. So everything we do is how does this technique develop a permission point? Okay. Just one quick second, go over. I need to check, see if there are questions. No more questions coming in. So we will move on and explain this and give me an example. So one of our kits is Doable Personal Evangelism, the 7x7 journey from relationships to revival. What this technique is you have a consecration or dedication service, and you pass out a half sheet of paper or a postcard size thing. And on one side is a place to put down 7 names that God is laying on your heart. And on the other side is 7 relationship building steps to do with those 7 friends. And on the 7 names, we make recommendations about people you do business with, your kids go to school with, neighbors, relatives, people like that. And then we give the 7 steps. And so the ideal is for your saints not to invite people to church, but to become friends with these people and strengthen those friendships until the 7th step. And at the 7th step, it's a place where they share their testimony. And you can invite them to a cell group, or you can invite them to a Bible study, or you can invite them to church, depending on how you want to execute the program. All right. So this plan is organic in that it only costs to print up those postcards. Okay. It helps discover the hungry in that they are taking time with 7 people and building this relationship. On the 6th step, it's ask the family about their history. Step number 3, I think, is look for a need that person may have and how you can help them with the need. So it helps to discover the hungry. Because it's a long-term investment in building relationships, it builds trust, builds a lot of trust before they ask the person either to the cell group or to the Bible study or to church. And it builds up a permission point in 3 ways. One, why are you helping me so much? right? Number two, when you ask them about their background and their history and their faith, they may say, well, I did used to go to church, now I don't go. I have this question about God, so I can bring it up there. And number three is when you share your testimony, they may say, well, how'd you do this? What was it like? Okay, so this leads to permission points. This program also includes techniques for promoting the special dedication service. It includes coaching plans on how to follow through and to coach throughout the year. And it's one particular plan. So that's an example. This is one of the kits. In fact, this is the most popular kit that we have in our library. And every quarter, we're adding a new kit, a new technique. Okay, let's just check on questions. Feel free as we're talking to enter the questions and let us know what you're thinking about or what kind of issues you may be facing in your church or such. So buy-in. So the buy-in question here is this personal evangelism one. It's kind of funny. It's 7x7. It's actually peer pressure. So people who are not a part of this will catch on that they're not a part of it and will feel guilty and hopefully will become a part in it. Another component about this 7x7 plan is there's a lot of testimony opportunities. And as people start testifying, hey, I've had success, I've made progress, my friend opened up to me, it's catchy, and other people want to catch on and be a part of that. The introvert, again, it's this permission point, okay? Get them in a place with their friend where the friend will start asking them questions, okay? So the person's not just going out boldly sharing the gospel to everybody who comes down the street. They're getting to a point where the other person's driving the conversation. We did this with one of our other plans. It's called Reach Every Door. We had 22 adults go to Marshall, Minnesota, and we sent an advertisement ahead of time on Thursday. And then on Saturday, as we go door to door, we're carrying the same ad in our hands. And as we knocked on the doors, the people answering the door started asking questions because they already saw the ad and they've seen it again. But they've been thinking about it. And of those 22 people, everybody got somebody to sign up for a Bible study, even the shyest person, because they didn't have to break the ice. The person answering the door asked the questions. We were getting a sign up for a Bible study once every 16 doors, once every 7 minutes for 4 hours, solid. So get people to the permission point where their friends are asking the questions, and that will address the introvert. Then the buy-in, the excitement. After this excitement, it just spread like wildfire. People wanted to be involved. In fact, this Reaching Every Door program we did in Princeton, Minnesota, knocked on the door, lady answers the door, she takes the contact card from my hand, fills it out, hands it back to me, says, call me Tuesday at 6, I'll be back from the business trip, I want a Bible study. I did not even get a chance to introduce myself to her because she already saw the advertisement, so I had the same advertisement with me, and she signed up on the spot. So that helps a lot with the introvert. All right. So leverage these 3 secrets with the tool Church Growth in a Box. Okay, so to brief, just remember the 4 Ds, and we'll demonstrate these here in a second. When you're in Church Growth in a Box and these kits are coming out every quarter, not every plan that we put out each quarter is going to fit your church. It's going to be a part of your church. So you just need a quick debrief, and we'll show you how the debrief happens. Less than 2 or 3 minutes, you will know if that kit is for you or not for your church, and you can move on it, or you can execute it. Say, let's go ahead and do that. And so then you can decide. So think of this like a library of books. You got some books, they're good books. You haven't had a chance to read them, but it's on the shelf, right? But as soon as you come across a situation that book addresses, you're grabbing it off the shelf and you're using it. You're looking it up. So think of the kits kind of like that library. And then even after you select our kit and we give you all the steps and we give you all the tools, customize it. You know your church. We don't. We're only going to be addressing in our kits systems. And it takes a spiritual product and it takes a culture in systems for your church to have revival. and I'm not the pastor, and I'm not going to tell you how to grow your church. But I will provide you with tools, and I'll teach you how to use those tools. And then when they're appropriate, you're ready to pull them out of the toolbox and use them. Okay? Then the next step is to delegate. And so we have a thing called Build My Team button where you go in, you can start inviting your team. They can review the video, they can download the tools and such. So when you're doing your debrief, you may be in it 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and you say, this is what I want to do. Then you would delegate, and you'd say to an elder leader, hey, watch the whole thing, look at it, and get back with me, and let's see if this is what we want to do for our church. Saves you from a half-hour video and looking at 14 different tools and trying to figure out how to use them. Okay? So think of it as a Sunday School Quarterly. When you give the Sunday School Quarterly to your Sunday School teachers, you don't read the whole quarterly and proof it before you give it to them, right? And so that's what Church Growth in the Box is for outreach. It's your Sunday School Quarterly for evangelism, for reaching your community. And then deploy, and as where your members now can download the tools, they've already got templates, they've already got formats set up, media, whatever they need to start doing what they need to do to execute the plan. And we will show you how that works. So once you've logged into Church Growth in a Box, at the top menu there, where you see the red arrow pointing, is kits. And when you click on that, today we've got 3 kits in there, and in next quarter we're getting ready to put our 4th kit in. You'll see the kits that are available. So we got Doable Personal Evangelism, the 7x7 Journey from Relationships to Revival, Neighborhood Mailings That Work, Reach Every Door campaign, and then we have the Disciple Making Streaming Tips and Affordable Solutions. So you go to these kits here, and you would click on a kit, and once you clicked on the kit, you'll notice here that there's the title across the top. The next is Who Should Watch. So for this one, the 7x7 Journey, churches that would like to see more of their members motivated and engaged in personal evangelism and disciple making as church growth leaders reaching their community. That's Who Should Watch. What's the goal? The goal is to provide a year-round encouragement and coaching that builds confidence in your members that they can reach their community as church growth leaders. And then we have the video timeline. So here's what's available in this video. And so if you want to jump ahead to a certain point, you can. All right. So the first minute, notice here, challenges and opportunities. It just explains what the 7x7 plan is at a high level. And in the next 3 items, how to kick off the 7x7 program, how to multiply the results, and when and how to invite new contacts to church are the 3 techniques. If you only watch those 3 items, you have the overall view of what this plan is all about and how it works. Okay. Then next is we're going to talk about how to integrate and make the connections as disciple-making relationships and challenges in building trust with the hurting. All right. So we want to make sure that we're getting a disciple-making relationship going as they make contacts, and that they're aware of being sensitive to the hurting. Then we're going to talk about church plants by vocational departments, small churches, how they would tweak this plan to work for them. And then we're going to talk about how building the team to match the size of your church for what you can do with this. And then we're going to review the tools that come with the kit. So as a pastor, within about 10 minutes, if you wanted to watch the video, you got a good comprehensive thing. You don't have to watch the whole 30 minutes of this video. Okay. The video is below that Build Your Team button. Then if you wanted to watch it, you scroll down and watch that. Okay, and delegate. This is where you click on the build. It says Build Your Team. The newer version we just released says Build My Team. But this is where you start bringing people in on this particular project and asking them to watch the video and download the tools. Okay, and this is where you would fill out the form with the name, email, cell phone number, etc. for your team members and send a request for them to join you. And below the video, scrolling down on that kit, underneath the video, you'll find these tools, and this is just the top half of the tools here. But each tool comes in multiple formats. So at the very top, you see the comment card. There's a PDF version, and there's a PowerPoint version. So if you're happy with the card and how it is, you just take the PDF version, print it, and go. If you want to tweak it and change it a little bit, the graphics or the name of the church, etc., you can use the PowerPoint version, edit it, and then print it from PowerPoint, and you're ready to go. Then we have organic posts for Facebook promotions. We have a guidebook you can download, instructions, planning sheets, prayer promotional graphic for Facebook. And so tons of media and tools and stuff that are available. If we could scroll down here, we could actually see a lot more. It comes with the kit. It's ready to go. Unhooked Church in a broken city is the devil's playground. And our goal is to help churches be more equipped, better equipped in reaching their cities. The 7x7 plan is the plan that was used by the church that saw the 300% trajectory growth. And that's one where I covered that the person sitting on the pew wasn't doing anything. If I didn't cover it, I just want to double check on that. And that is the person was sitting on the pew and written down 7 names, and they didn't have very good social skills. And so the first step was to pray for their 7 friends. This person kept praying and praying and praying and praying and never called them or talked to them or invited them over for dinner or anything like that. Just kept praying and praying and praying. And one day while they were praying, the phone rang and they answered it. And it was one of the 7 friends in that list. And the friend says, "It's been a couple of years since we've talked, but I know that you're a Christian. I'm going through a trauma. Could you pray for me?" So that person was able to say, "Yes, I already have been praying for you." That friend came to church that Sunday and gave their life to Christ. That inactive person who didn't volunteer, who didn't buy into anything, okay, the following week went to every door within 2 blocks of their home and invited everybody to church. And in the following Sunday, had 2 new families in church. So these are things that, like I said, the excitement spreads. And then from that, the youth group, the church around about 75, their youth group was about 13, said, "How come the adults are doing the 7x7 plan, but we're not?" So they canceled Sunday school Sunday morning, and they all committed to reaching 7 of their friends and had over 100 names of young people in their community that they were going to invest in and build relationships over the next year. So very, very contagious. Learning is 10% knowledge and 90% action. Church Growth in a Box is the action side of disciple making. Before we go too much further, I just want to explain what's also included in Church Growth in a Box. Okay, I mentioned the Reach Every Door campaign, where we got 1 of every 16 doors. Disciple making with live streaming. You've been doing streaming at your church. Who's watching it? How do you get the people in your community to watch it? Then how do you get those who are watching it to connect to the church and for you to touch their lives? We cover that in one of our kits. Community learning. It's a huge market. A lot of people want to learn life skills, life sets, and how to leverage that. Business cards. My wife and I have designed a personal business card of a personal invite that we make to our friends with our phone number on it, not the church's phone number. And we have not seen any rejection. 100% of the people that we've given it to, we've connected to, we've spoken to the lives of spiritual leaders. It worked 100% of the time. Neighborhood parties. We've had 62 of our neighbors attend our block parties. From that, we've got 8 families to come to church, and it costs us less than $50 a year. We're going to show you how to do that in one of the kits. Vacation Bible School. Do you know if you do Vacation Bible School, strategically, you can connect to new families for about $5 a piece, and we'll show you how to do that. Prayer Brigade. This is a concept of supporting your community leaders and letting God open doors through your community leaders. Super Sundays. We have a church that's doing Super Sundays. They're seeing about 8 new visitors each Sunday that they do Super Sunday. They don't do them every Sunday, but they do about 6 times over the summer. And they get it in this real small church. And they get about 8 new visitors each Sunday. They do a Super Sunday. And newsletters. Don't just have a church newsletter. Have a church newsletter that has a purpose. And it can make a ton of difference. Fall festivals. Fall festivals is your lowest hanging fruit. It's a great time to bring back people to church. Okay, and it's an easier quote unquote sell because they already know what they're getting into. All right, and then it's an opportunity. A lot of people fly right over. They have fall festivals because everybody else having fall festivals, but your fall festival is your opportunity to restore people, to bring people back to your church. These kits are all coming in churchgrowthinthebox.com and will be included. Okay, now I need to put bread on my table, and you do too. So I'm going to be very reasonable and putting up a sign up button there on the right hand side. And we're going to explain how Church Growth in the Box works here. Okay, it's only $1.99 a month per person. You're seeing it correct. Not 3,000, not 300,000, not 11,000. $1.99 a month per person. Okay? Can't beat that hands down. But on top of that, we have a webinar special. We're going to give you 3 months free when you use this code 333MMMTTT and you sign up. You get 3 months free. All right? Again, pretty good deal. When we looked at what it costs to go to seminars and especially to take your team to the seminar, hotels, food, travel, and all that. Here you get Church Growth in the Box for $1.99. Click on that sign up button on the side of the screen there. Okay, so let's do some quick math. The webinar special code, remember, is 333MMMTTT. And $1.99 times 3, you're saving $5.97. Okay? But if the average church signs up 10 of your members that you want to be involved in outreach and be leadership in your outreach, okay, you now, $1.99 times 11 times 3 months is $65.67. A little more change there, okay? So that's a pretty good savings, gives you 3 months to go for a test drive, et cetera, and so forth. Now, when you do sign up, it does require your credit card, okay? So you sign up today, and you will maximize your savings. Sign up your team, okay? This is a limited time offer. You want to do it today to get this benefit, to get this savings. So sign up with the sign up button there on the side to start your savings. Now, to get your team on the savings, you use the 333MMMTTT code when you sign up. But then you want to go into one of the kits, choose one of the kits that you want to do, scroll down above the video and click on the Build My Team button, okay? Add your team. Here's how the coupon code works. The coupon code has an end date. And as you add your team members, they're free till that end date. So if you wait 1 month before you add your team members are only going to get 2 months free. Okay? They don't get 3 months. They get the leftover days of the coupon as their free days. So that's why you want to add your team members. Like I said, the average church has about 10. You can be a little liberal with that. If you're uncertain about certain people, maybe you want to give them a test drive, add them anyway. And before the end of 3 months, contact me. We can cancel them if they don't work out. So you have the right number of team members in the system. But your first 3 months is free. All right. So we will move on. And if you have any problems, do reach out to me, Hugh at churchgrowthinthebox.com, and I will help you with any challenges that you may have. So we will switch the offer now. Just give me a minute here. Okay. And we'll give you the free report. That will get you the PDF report about the trends in church growth investments. And the sad thing is personal evangelism is recognized by most churches as their number one challenge. And yet it is the least area that they plan on investing in. And so for $1.99, it's a pretty good investment to make to help improve personal evangelism, disciple making in your church. So you can click on the download button there and download that report. Thank you to everybody who attended today. Thank you for those that signed up for Church Growth in a Box. We appreciate your time. And you can always reach me at hugh@churchgrowthinabox.com. It's Hugh, Hugh, at churchgrowthinabox.com. First of the year, we're going to do business cards, and I am working on the business cards kit right now, and very, very excited. Giving out business cards that produce reaction, that get people to hook and to engage and to know what to do in their next step is important. We're excited, looking forward to hearing reports back of doors that the good Lord will open up for you. The key thing is, remember, every time you do an outreach project, a promotion, help your saints get to a permission point with the people that they're working with. If you can get them to a permission point, it is a win, because then they can speak into people's lives. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We had fun sharing the information and answering your questions. And we'll have some more webinars coming up in the future, dealing with in January or February, hopefully in January. Our next webinar is going to be miracle-based evangelism. How to be open for God to do a miracle through you in other people's lives, so if they will want to know more about your God. And that's going to be a really good webinar. Very insightful.